Growing up Gen X, the only bars I thought of were of the monkey variety, but I was keenly aware when TV characters all gathered at their favorite watering hole, but not for water. You've entered the Gen Experience. I'm Victor, and while watching the actors come together each week in the show's main tavern or bar, I knew I wanted that when I grew up. A place that my friends and I could meet regularly and clink glasses over a good laugh. Now that I'm all grown up, why don't you come along? So join me on our TV-themed pub crawl through famous favorite fictional TV bars. And stick around to see just how you could visit the real-life counterparts. But first, a huge thank you. My last show went gangbusters, killer, and I so appreciate it. Your generosity with likes, subscribes, and even comments, they were incredible. I really hope you enjoy the rest of the content here on the channel, the Gen Experience, and what's coming up next. And if you don't, well, now for something completely different. Most of you are aware of her recent death, so in honor of her life, I thought we'd start by taking a seat at a local Santa Monica pub and raise our glasses for Suzanne Somers. What should we have? Well, the most popular beer in America in 1977, of course, Budweiser. A Bud at the Regal Beagle sounds like a blast. We'll all call over the usual bartenders, Jim through season 5, or Mike through season 8, and toast Chrissy Snow. The Beagle is known for its shenanigans, so we could be in for an interesting night. Chrissy Snow was played, of course, by the effervescent Suzanne Somers in the popular 70s sitcom. Somers had appeared in a bit part of George Lucas's American Graffiti as the mysterious love interest of Richard Dreyfuss, before taking on the popular role of Snow. Along with her roommates Janet and Jack, they would often gather for a draft, meet their dates, play matchmaker, or participate in some other wildly unreal misunderstanding the show was famous for. The iconic name, the cozy atmosphere, the generic tables and chairs, the Regal Beagle gets all the respect in the world, as it tried, even if half-assed, to be an English pub just steps away from the Santa Monica Pier. The Regal Beagle lives on, and although towards the end of the series it got a lot less play, its location to the nearby apartments and the boardwalk made it an easy story element, and a friendly place to meet for a pint. Inevitably, insane plot lines might end up culminating at the Beagle. If you'd really like to come and knock on their door, you can, right here. No, wait, no, not the Regal Eagle. No, here. Only 134 miles away in San Diego, California. The real Regal Beagle lives their best Three's Company life every day, and waiting for hers and his kisses. Hey, if you like this logo for the popular establishment, a link in the description will lead you to where you can get one of your own on anything. For now, we gotta head east, and a little south.
Can't wait to get in there and wet my whistle.
If peanuts and bottle caps on the floor is your style, then this honky-tonk dive in Hazard County, Georgia is the place for you. There's not a lot to it, and the beer seems to be the drink of choice, unless you know the owner. If you've gotten in, he might give you a shot of good old-fashioned and illegal moonshine, made right there in the back. The Boar's Nest was the local tavern for everyone in Hazard County. The Dukes of Hazard would often meet up here to begin or end a race, or scheme a plan to get back at the sheriff or Boss Hogg, the sole commissioner of the county, who oddly was the owner of the Boar's Nest and its moonshine. Besides being the closest bar to Wet Your Whistle, the Duke's cousin, Daisy, was the main attraction. As bar wench, she might comp your tab, or pour a drink in your lap depending on how handsy you get. Either way, it looks like this Bud's for you once again. And because a subscriber asked for it, here's some gratuitous moments of the beautiful Catherine Bachman as Daisy Duke. I don't know about you, but I think we should just drink and run. Even with a popcorn machine, pinball, and a jukebox, there are no windows to this joint, and with the boss's nephew tending bar and an escape tunnel in the basement, there could be a raid at any moment. Except that all the cops in Hazard County are sitting on the bar stools. The Boar's Nest may not look like much, but it had some great entertainment. During Dukes of Hazzard's run, the Celebrity Speed Trap was an ingenious way to bring some top-name talent to the show and end an episode on a high note. Loretta Lynn, Roy Orbison, and the Oak Ridge Boys were all guest stars on the Boar's Nest stage. When they weren't having a wet t-shirt contest, that is. These celebrity moments were a way those big-name stars got out of paying their tickets and brought in a full house to make plenty of dough for the Nest. So maybe tonight we'll be lucky.
You know, if we weren't cousins, I'd marry you.
It's never stopped anyone in this family before.
You got a point there.
You're not getting quality like this on Chicago Fire, FBI, am I right? But you could see the Boar's Nest in the 1975 film Moonrunners, the movie that inspired the long-running Dukes of Hazzard TV show. Now, if you're wondering if you can still visit the Boar's Nest, you can. But just remember to bring your hymnal, as the original location used for the exterior shots of the bar is now a church. But not all hope is lost. There are a couple of boar's nests across the country, one in Florida and one in Peoria, Illinois, who looks a lot like the original. And there is a South Carolina museum made up to look like the saloon and decked out with all kinds of Duke Boy memorabilia. But it was Ben Jones, the actor who played Cooter and held Georgia political office for 2 terms, who owns 3 Duke museums. Called what else? Cooters. And they're all top-notch museums and gift shops for those intrepid hazard souvenir hunters. Before we get in the middle of a barroom brawl, let's not waste our beer before heading even further south, like say, Miami. Now on a side note, there were some other great hangouts that various Gen Xers probably would love to visit, like Monk's Diner, the Peach Pit, and Central Perk, which I visited while on a business trip to Shanghai, China, believe it or not. But since this is a pub crawl, let's keep the tap flowing and save the dry places for another show. But don't forget to engage the comments section and tell me what tavern you and your friends would frequent. Perhaps Blanche only mentioned it a couple of times on the show, but the Rusty Anchor was shown only once in a season 7 episode of The Golden Girls. Pull up a chair in this dark little Florida bar and see what's on the menu.
You're going to introduce me to some of your friends?
Yes, if I see anybody I know.
By the looks of it, it seems popular. A bit dim, but there's a grand piano. Almost like a cabaret. Looks like things really heat up when a show tune is belted out. Blanche brought Dorothy to the Rusty Anchor, and suddenly Slim is the belle of the ball, and Blanche isn't having it.
Blanche, you seem upset. Is anything wrong?
Oh, no big deal. Just one little thing. I feel like I've died and gone to hell.
Trying to one-up her friend and outdo her for attention, she's surely going to make a fool of herself in front of all these eligible bachelors. Well, we'll stay and see how this plays out. While we wait, we'll order a Miami Vice cocktail. Did anyone notice there's only men at the bar? Blanche might be barking up the wrong tree in this establishment. I'm not sure she's going to get lucky from this crowd, if you know what I mean. Looking for your own Rusty Anchor? Well, there are a couple of them, but the only one in Florida is in Madeira Beach near St. Pete. Since this anchor is home to a steamed seafood feast, the chances they have a grand piano are 0 to none. Well, when in Florida, let's do what the Floridians do.
Florida man doesn't get straw, attacks McDonald's employees. This one has a video.
No, not that. Let's go on a cruise. Princess Cruise Line usually makes port in LA, but they were known for taking a variety of specialty cruises around the world in their 9 seasons and 5 TV movies on the Love Boat. The port of Miami is far from Puerto Vallarta, but we couldn't miss being served by the best bartender on the 7 seas, Isaac Washington. Cruising baffled me as a kid. I couldn't imagine the concept or the excitement of a vacation cruise with live entertainment and balcony cabins on decks called things like
The Aloha Deck, the Fiesta Deck, Promenade Deck.
not to mention themed nights, but that is exactly why we're here. Grab your eye patch and let's take a stool at the Pirate's Cove. There's never been more of a sympathetic bartender. With his themed costume, Isaac pulled off the pirate shirt long before and much better than Jerry Seinfeld. You don't need to convince me to tie on a pirate sash and order a classic rum runner with the rest of the 80s couples embroiled in disastrous love stories. Let's hope we aren't as hopeless as they all are. But Isaac could handle it and would often. If you have some troubles, it's he who could talk you off a ledge and into a tall martini. He'd seen everything. Except a coffee break. This poor man was rarely seen not tending bar. As the head bartender, I was just as shocked as you are to see him hop from one of the many locations on the ship to mend broken hearts and stick umbrellas up their olives. Did you ever see him sit at the captain's table? No, because he was always at the title bar by the pool, or his satellite bar on the deck, while Doc and Julie continued to bootlick Captain Steubing. Just once, Isaac should have been given the day off. But lucky for us, we have found the quiet seclusion of Pirate's Cove, the inner sanctum of the Pacific Princess. This out-of-the-way cocktail bar could have you disappear alone in the shadows or gather all your friends for an impromptu private party in this grotto getaway. Afterwards, we can all head to the Acapulco Lounge for a required daiquiri and a night of entertainment starring Charo. Don't worry, I'm sure Isaac will change his shirt and meet us there. And if you like that Acapulco Lounge design, there is a link in the description to get a better look at one for yourself. Well, that was the horn. We better shove off this barge before we're considered stowaways and have to walk the plank. But have no fear, Princess Cruise Line still exists with a variety of bar venues. And who knows, maybe you'll find your own Isaac Washington. Next stop, the Midwest. And a decade or two earlier. Arnold's This Was Not, where Happy Days had a teen hangout. Laverne and Shirley were older, worldly women. Take that however you want. And they made Milwaukee seem exotic. Even while hanging out at the Pizza Bowl. After a day of capping bottles at the brewery, who wouldn't want to sling back a couple of beers over a pizza? Ugh, pizza and beer. I have never not liked this incredible combination of excellent cuisine. Laverne's dad, Frank, ran the Pizza Bowl, so you knew exactly what you were getting into. Simple food and delicious. Oh, and sometimes a dance contest, sometimes a bank robbery, you know, the usual. Perhaps a great place for a cheap date. At this point on the crawl, we need a little sustenance. So order up a pepperoni pie along with what else? A Schatz beer, obviously. And maybe Laverne will serve it to us. Or maybe not. It was the best Milwaukee had to offer, as proudly seen on the wall of the restaurant. You know, Schatz sounds an awful lot like a beer from my old stomping grounds, Schlitz. Anybody know that? Like the Boar's Nest and the Regal Beagle, you never knew what was in store at this point. But what set this place apart was that you could empty a pitcher of beer and complete a round of bowling. That's right, connected to the bar and restaurant was the bowling alley. A great 60s hangout, but still a lot of fun today. If you aren't 3 sheets to the wind yet, I'd say let's go toss some gutter balls. You know, if more kids would just go out and bowl today, the problems of this world may be solved very shortly. You forget just how fun it really is. But if you need a little music, try hitting the jukebox. And if that doesn't work, just put in some change and let her rip. But God, please don't select Laverne and Shirley Sing. They might have made their dreams come true, but it wasn't a music career. This actual released album was a collection of original songs and 50s and 60s covers that the actresses sang in character. Or even worse, the follow-up, Lenny and the Squig Tones. I am not kidding here. You will regret it as much as the actors did. Does anyone know a real pizza bowl? I think it's a great idea, and although I couldn't find one, perhaps someone out there will start a business. I'd certainly go. Now, time to head east for our final stop. You all know where we're going, where everybody knows your name. Now, do we still have everyone? I stopped keeping count at the ship. Don't expect any of the bartenders to have the empathy or ear like Isaac. That is not what Cheers is all about. And don't bother asking the resident psychiatrist either. Just sit back and watch the staff. It's all about them, and it can be fun just to watch everything implode around you. It's like a floor show where anything can happen and probably will. A Boston institution, Cheers is a sports bar that has a great classy charm that makes it comfortable for all people from all walks of life. We're all welcome and couldn't get enough of it, as evident by the popularity ratings of this program. Now, if you're still hungry, we should stop upstairs and get a bite at Melville's and a tall glass of water. And then again, perhaps fish is not best after all this alcohol. What do you say? Has this not been the best pub crawl that never was? I don't know about you, but I'm drunk on nostalgia. But we just couldn't pass up the most famous neighborhood bar before finishing. As many of you know, the Bull and Finch exists in Boston. The inspiration for Cheers, the Bull and Finch stood in as exterior shots for the show and continues to live its Cheers heritage, even if the bar itself is incredibly smaller than the set on TV. But what isn't? TV always puts on 10 pounds. Just like a beer. Well, good thing you're already home, or else you'd have to Uber. No nightcap for me, but I certainly hope you enjoyed our night out. Tell your friends, and show me some love by hitting that like. If you've returned to the Gen experience, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and thank you. I appreciate you watching the show. If you're new, feel free to press that subscribe, and you won't regret it. Look around the channel for more great content like this. Oh, and if you did like those designs for the Acapulco Lounge, the Boar's Nest, or the Regal Beagle, the link in the description is where you can find those designs. Like I always say, put my thing on your thing. And with that, until next time.